Vijay Dayal is a sound engineer with over 20 years of experience. His background as a musician and guitarist drove him to master the science of sound and distinguish himself with his musicality. He is also known for his kind personality and his passion for making music sound better. Though the music producers, once they are done with the writing process and because nowadays due to the technological evolution, the writing happens along with the sound. Right. I'm sure there must be music composers, producers who include you from the time of writing.
Absolutely.
And I want to steer our discussion to that aspect as well, where many of us know several music composers who prefer having you on board from the time they start writing a song, the songwriting process and everything. Both the kind of processes are equally valid, where in one place you are given an entire ready session to mix. But also then there are other instances where you are you are made a part of the project right from the first scratch is recorded, right. From the point the music producer starts writing the instrumental section of the song, to multiple iterations and changes and feedbacks or whatever. That is where the sonic shaping comes in your hands. And we know several films like Agnipath and Natrang, where these are certain iconic projects that have actually shaped the way people perceive Indian percussions. I really want you to take our viewers through that aspect of engineering, where even in today's era, in the past decade or two, despite of the technological advancement and accessibility, you have been given the control of shaping a song's sound, despite of the arranger. So we all know that arrangement is something which is inclusive of balance. Right. The arrangement, when it's written, be it on a piece of paper or on a MIDI domain, it makes it clear that the cello has to play softer than the violin, or the trumpets have to play louder than the French horns, or maybe whatever. So I think arrangement is something which is inclusive, right, of the dynamics of the instrumental track. And so this is where I would want you to state your experience, to explain your perspective and your ideas about shaping the sound of these songs, such songs that have come across major audiences across India. And trust me, even I have been very inspired by these few albums. In fact, my Bunda Bandi, the one that I did last year, is a mix of several of these things, like how I was inspired by Rahman sir's sound from the 90s. The Duff sound was very inspired by Khel Mandala. And so there's a lot that has come out of your desk, that has inspired. And it has not been the producer-centric sound, but the sound that you have shaped. I want you to take our audiences through that aspect of engineering that you have contributed to.
Definitely. As I said earlier, the engineers were engineers only. They used to be engineers, not more of the musicians. Of course, when I talk about myself, I think it's a little different because I myself am a musician, first of all. Mm-hmm. So when the composer speaks to me, so many of them are friends with whom we have been working for years. So you specifically mentioned a couple of films, which is like Ajay Atul film, for that matter. Although we do discuss, all the composers discuss the creative part of it even before we start recording. So many times, even if it is just the completely programmed song, even if we are not recording anything, so we discuss the sound, that what do you think, that for that matter, what do you think? I am composing this song and my major concern is this, that we are using tabla dholak as the major rhythm in this. And my concern is my song is in G sharp. Now, what do you think we should do? We should use G sharp ka dholak. There will not be the right sound if you G sharp or A or B flat, that kind of thing. Now, dholak tuning, you don't get sa as B flat.
Correct.
You will not get pancham also. So
you get
either
the
it will be
third.
too low,
Yes.
or it will be too high.
Yes, yes.
The composer says that I don't want to show if it is major or minor. So that third note is also out of question.
Yes.
So you cannot use gandhar also.
Correct.
These kind of things, then the music producers, composers discuss with us. What do you think? If I go ahead with this thing, because this kind of song, I am looking at this singer, and so that it has to stay in this scale, this key. So what do you think? What we should do? Should we use the lower fifth ka dholak and just make it a little tighter, or else we should use top sa ka dholak and make it sound a little softer? That is how the discussions take place, and that is how ultimately when we listen to a song, I feel very happy about it that I've been the part of this discussion, and ultimately the result which has come out has some say of mine. Okay, so I think that you should do this and you should call these musicians, we should record it like this, and then we will get the right sound. That is how, like, one of the albums, Ajay said that it was Warkari in Maharashtra. They just go to Alandi, walking down some 200 kilometers and all. They are walking in the sun, they are walking in the rains, they are not caring about anything. They are playing those pakhavaj, tal, they are singing, and they are just walking. In this process, that is not an instrument which is well maintained and all that, like studio condition, which will you play and it will sound dumb like that.
Correct.
So that is where the discussion takes place between the composer and an engineer. See, we want a sound of an instrument which is worn out, which he's taking in the sun, which he's taking in the rains. It is completely spoiled, but he is playing with full passion and devotion. So we need that kind of sound. We don't want a pakhawash to sound like dham, full sound.
Correct.
It should sound little damp.
Correct.
It should sound little weak in production of sound. That is how we thought about it. We asked the musician to tune the instrument like that. We did the microphone placement accordingly, so that we get that kind of sound. So that is how the engineer plays an important role in the production of these songs. There was one song sung by Udit Narayan, and the director had that sound in his mind, that some Qayamat se Qayamat tak times Udit Narayan. I really hear that sound of Udit Narayan in this song. Now, this was maybe some 3-4 years back. Obviously, the tone and timbre of a singer would change. It's not that kind of voice, although his singing expression is the same, but you will not get that sound. So what me and the composer, we decided that let's record this and take it into the Melodyne and change the throat length, change the format. And then we tried that, and it worked so well that it feels like it's the new age production. With it sounds like you have taken the raw voice of Udit Narayan from 90s and you have done the entire production newly. So that is how it works, and it's really fun. Means you feel so good about that, the entire process. That Ajay calling me, he said, "What time you're finishing your work?" I said, "Maybe at 10 o'clock. Just drop into the sitting room. I have come up with beautiful lavani and I need to play it to you." So I go there, I listen to it, and I feel so good that after Ajay Atul, I am the third person who is listening to it. And then I'm giving my inputs that what we should do is. Like similarly in Dil Daya Galla, Shekhar said that, see, we have done this tabla dholak, but you just listen to it and let's take that call. Then we heard that and we decided to redo the tabla dholak here.
Okay.
And we re-recorded tabla dholak here. And the sound which has come now,
it's beautiful.
So that is how it's that process is really good, and you really feel happy about that. That okay, fine. I am a musician. I understand music, and that is why I am being the part of that creative process. But that really makes the difference. And ultimately, when you listen to that product when it comes out, it is so satisfying that you are the part of this technical process. I believe that. I think that because I'm a musician, that happens. But I'm sure any engineer who is experienced and who has done so much of work, he also can contribute
Correct.
to the creative part of this. And I feel this is the best thing, and this should be the practice within the composers and engineers, that they should be made. Similarly, when we mix a song, the composer is sitting with us. We are taking his opinion, we are taking his inputs, and that is how the mix is taking the shape. Similarly, the engineers also should be made the part of the creative process.
Correct.
So they can have their technical inputs which will support the product, and ultimately it's about the good work which comes out. So I think this is a great practice and it should be followed.
Also, because you are, so what I really need to mention here especially is that you are a musician yourself, and being an engineer who is trained in music, who knows musical instruments, who knows how to play, how to hit a pitch, I would like you to throw some light on the importance of the knowledge and the sensibility of being a musician, and its importance for any mix or recording engineer in the field. Please throw some light on that.
Yeah, actually, it's interesting. If you see in the Western countries, in US and places like UK and so many places in Europe, you will see that the music recording engineer is a trained musician.
Yes.
If you're recording an orchestra, one of the copy of the score will be kept in front of an engineer.
Yes.
So, this goes long back when I was visiting a studio with my friend, and I saw that some small recording session was happening, and the engineer was sitting there with the score. And he was saying, okay, yeah, that sounds good. Okay, this fourth bar, that A flat is not right. I believe that someone is confused about that particular note, or it was just the pitching which went wrong. So I felt, man, this is really very important. That time I was a musician. Then there was a time when that is also actually says my story about my changeover from musician to engineer also. So I felt how important it is for an engineer to understand what is happening there.
Exactly. Because I've seen you correcting choir members, correcting tabla players to tune their instruments again, while in the middle of the take.
Right.
So it's amazing to see, that how an engineer is so crucial to a recording session with the knowledge of tuning and everything. So
absolutely, I believe it's really important. Means if you are recording music, you should have basic knowledge of music at least, so that also when you capture the sound, you should understand, okay, this particular instrument sounds like this.
Correct.
So I should reproduce it like this. The range of this instrument is this. The tuning of this instrument is particular. So if it changes, it is changing the tonality. So what you should do there in order to which it will sound right. All these things really need an engineer to understand the sound of the instrument, the musicalities, a little theory about music also. So that is how I also grew up. Like I also in the scene of live scenario. Similarly, it happened in the studio that if the engineer knows what is happening there, what is required there. Similarly, in live sound also, once I felt that I was playing, I used to play guitar on the stage. So I was playing, and for some reason I came out and I heard. So I realized that what is being produced on the stage hardly 20% of
It's not translating to
is
the peers.
translating to the audience. So 80% of it is just going down the drain only because of just one person sitting there.
So I also understand with this that being a musician or having the understanding of music adds tremendously to the way your engineered sound translates out into the public, into the audiences. And it's beautiful, and I would like the viewers to know that several shows where Mr. Dayal is an FOH, front of the house, have received complaints that the show is being played on a CD. Where there's an actual live band playing and everything is live. There have been complaints against the organizers that they've actually played a CD. So I'm talking about the refinement of sound that having, when you carry the sensibilities and the understanding of a musician, I think it adds greatly to this thing, to the way it comes out, to the way it translates.